Hi. It's been a long time since I've been doing a SuperFlashDriver's news update, and by the time that you see this video, it will already be May 14th, 2026. Or it will already be May 14th, 2026. Also, second thing, by the time that you see this video, it will already be... Wow, I can't believe I screwed that part up. So hey everyone, welcome to SuperFlashDriver's 25th news update. And it's been a long time coming ever since I've been making this one for a very long time. Why? Because May 14th of 2011 is when I uploaded my very first SuperFlashDriver's news update back in 2011. You heard that right, 2011. It's been over 15 years since I first uploaded that news update video back in 2011 when I was only 15 years old. You gotta remember, when I first made my YouTube account, I was already 14 by the time that December 13th, 2009 came around. So you can imagine that I was pretty much already a teenager, but 1 year after being 13 by the time that I was, well, 14 years old. So forth. If you haven't seen my many news updates, you probably have noticed that over the years, I've actually upgraded my technology in terms of cameras. When I started doing the news update, I used to do it on a Sony camcorder, which is all the way in that corner right over there, where it's just sitting there doing nothing. And thus, I actually used that camcorder for pretty much the first 5 or 6 years. However, I started to realize that I needed something a little better than usual, which is why I ended up getting the Canon Rebel EOS SL1. Or, as it's actually called, the Canon EOS Rebel SL1. That camera I actually bought back in May 2014 as a way to, do better video than the camcorder that I had. Then eventually, 2 years later, I realized that the Canon 80D was the better camera to go for overall. Even though it was a crop sensor, it still was a pretty nifty camera, and to this very day, I still have it in a corner over there. Even nearly 10 years later after I got the camera in November 2016, well, I pretty much have been using it for many times. Though I would love to show you the original photo, unfortunately, I do have an unboxing of the video that you can see right here. And this one, unfortunately, is still unlisted, but you can pretty much see that this was the camera that I actually bought 10 years ago, and that camera would be the last time I will ever use the Rebel SL1 before I would go on to use the 80D. I also did the Sennheiser unboxing about 11 years ago before I got the 80D. So once I got the Canon 80D camera, which at that time was $1,200, now it's like $800. I know, old camera, I know, but that just goes to show just how old DSLRs can be after 10 or 20 years, but it really just goes to show that camera technology has come a long way from what it used to be back in 2010 and even 2005. You gotta remember, back in September 2025, I actually did a live stream of the 20th anniversary of the World Wide Web. And it really just goes to show just how much has changed in terms of landscape ever since I started using the World Wide Web on September 20th, 2005 on a Tuesday at 1:30 p.m/1:40 p.m. I can't tell you how excited I was to actually discover something that for a long time, even though I've heard many companies promote websites, I really didn't know what kind of application you use to go on the actual World Wide Web, which nowadays many people call it the internet, but there's a reason why I still keep the triple W around. It's because many people will forget what the abbreviation is, but it's usually easy to say the internet rather than the World Wide Web, but I usually say triple W or the entire thing regardless. Anyway, to celebrate the 50th anniversary, I decided to upload this video on May 14th of 2016. Yes, 15 years later, after I did the first update. Stupid hairs. This is what happens when you have facial hair growing on your beard and mustache. Back in 2011. So it really just goes to show just how far I've come in terms of camera technology. And considering that this is much different now, because in 2020, I actually got the Panasonic HC-X2000, and it's been my go-to prosumer video camera ever since for the past almost, I would say, 5.5 years. And this camera has served me pretty well. Though if I actually do the self view where I turn the LED towards me, unfortunately it just becomes black. And I really don't know why that happens, but it really just does. So I'm not sure if anybody has a solution on how to fix that one, but if you do, please let me know in the comments down below. That would really help me out a lot. But regardless, this video is going to be kind of short because, again, at the end of the day, I've already mentioned back on my 16th anniversary of livestream, I think it was like last year, or no, it was like January this year. If you probably haven't watched that one, I would definitely recommend you do so, because that livestream basically pretty much goes over many of the news update videos and also goes into a lot more detail of how I've evolved over the years from where I started in 2011 all the way up until now. And you also got to remember that I used to do editing a lot, and it used to take me a good few months just to be able to edit some of the footage. So even though I would record the footage, the problem was editing the footage. And I can't tell you how long it would take just to get to that point. Some of them would take like 4 months, some of them would take 5 months, and sometimes I wouldn't even post another news update until December later that year. So you can imagine that while I would record the whole thing, sometimes anything over 30 minutes would take forever to edit. Not to mention having to put in the music, the images, the audio mixing, and also having to master and be able to use the video, and then picking out which ones you want to keep versus which ones you want to delete. So it really goes to show that much has evolved ever since then, much has changed now, and now I'm in the basement rather than in my bedroom. But if you do remember, this was the same basement that I actually used for the 4th SuperFlashDriver's news update, as well as the 5th and 6th one. So this does look familiar. You probably have seen the 5th or 6th news update, or at least like one of these updates. This is the one I'm showing you right here, right now. This update actually shows you the basement of what it used to look like back in 2012. And this is 2026 now, and it's like 14 years later, and here I am. But ever since May of 2020, I realized that it was just better to sleep in the bedroom down here rather than bringing the bed up and down, up and down, up and down. Basically, taking the bedroom back up to my old one and then going back downstairs. But I realized that over time, ever since May 2020, I found myself to actually stay down here in the basement. So, suffice to say, it was just much better to just sleep down here and keep it cool rather than, I don't know, go back up to my bedroom and annoy the heck out of my parents. Yeah, I'm able to do recordings and be able to do live streams down here while my parents are sleeping. So it's actually pretty convenient nowadays compared to 10 years ago when I wasn't able to do that. So you can imagine how that has changed drastically. Although I used to actually be scared down here sleeping in the basement, but that has thankfully subsided after like 3 or 4 years. So the only thing you got to worry about is maybe some of the bugs. But even then, the bugs don't even come near me. Some of them I've actually squished a carpenter ant. Some of them were like flies. Some of them were bees. Some of them were termites. And yeah, some of them were like yellow jacket queen yellow jackets, I think. I don't remember. Sorry. It goes to show when you shave your beard and mustache, there's a little bit of an itch. But anyway. Man, where do I begin with this? Many people may not realize this, but I actually started my YouTube account originally as a commenting account on January 1st of 2010. However, when I actually checked the Classic Card to Poster 1080 channel, it turns out it wasn't on January 1st. It was actually near January 10th of 2012. So it might have been on the first Sunday or the second Sunday, and I decided, hey, let me go make it on January 1st of 2012 for Extreme Reviewer. Then 10 days later, I decided to do it on January 10th. I guess probably I wanted to go with 1st and 10th. That makes sense, but regardless, I'm pretty sure you can see the dates up here and when the days of the week are, so this way you can see where they are, because I'm not going to guess on this video recording. But anyway, it really goes to show just how far I've come in terms of videography. Starting off with a Sony camcorder in 2011, then my EOS Rebel SL1 in 2014, and probably even my laptop in 2012, 2013, then doing the 21st news update with the Canon 80D, and then actually took a break in 2018 to, work on a mirror videos project for BitChute between 2018 up until one of my hard drives to get corrupted in 2020, which thankfully I could still archive and recover, just that, well, I don't know about you, but it just really goes to show that it would take a very long time to archive and pull out all of the stuff in my hard disk drive, which is a 10 terabyte one that I got back in 2017. So yeah, you can imagine how that's going to take a while, and probably 3 months, but considering that I had this laptop here that now has become stationary, I could actually just take all the stuff I wanted from my hard disk drive and import it into this computer and go from there. And nowadays, I have something that a lot of people may not have, but I think once you see it, you'll understand what I mean. And that is this little mini gimme PC that I actually got for my birthday last year in December 2025. Yes, for my 30th birthday. So, many people may not know this, but on December 13th of 2025, I actually turned 30 years old. And while I unfortunately didn't do like a 30th anniversary type of special for me on DeviantArt, I will eventually make one at some point, either May 13th, 2026, or pretty much by the time one of my trainer's birthday, June 13th, comes around, that's when you'll see it. And yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't make it in time because December 8th, I was terribly sick. I ended up with a nasty flu and a nasty cold. So by the time December 13th came around, I pretty much got sick. It really just goes to show that ever since I got the vaccine boosters in 2024, I, for some reason, ended up getting a lot more sick than I was in the past 3 years. And I don't know if it's me not brushing my teeth enough, mouthwashing, or is it probably the food that I'm eating that's causing me to get a lot more sick? Or is it the sleep schedule? I really don't know. But regardless, I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I did, and I wanted to make this kind of short so this way it doesn't drag on forever because there's a lot that I like to say. But, to be honest, ever since 2024, in March of 2024 I would say, I decided after a 6-year hiatus that I would actually come back. And yes, to those of you who have been commenting on the Willy Wonka 1971 stuff, and especially the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory 2005 ones that I actually uploaded on July 11th, 2025, because I couldn't get it on July 10th because I missed it. Oh well, better than nothing, I would say. I appreciate all the comments that you guys have done for the past few months now. Though the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one would eventually, and unfortunately, be the last video series that I could probably embed links, because apparently a month later, YouTube decided to remove the advanced features on SuperFlashDriver's account, and also my third account, Classic Culture Poster 1080, even though it hasn't uploaded a video ever since it first started back in 2012. Yeah, originally the idea behind Classic Culture Poster 1080 was that it was supposed to be for cartoons and animations of my own drawings. However, considering the Bouncy and Friends show did get cancelled in 2011, that show never got off the ground, but ever since then, this year, Bouncy and Friends, my cartoon creations, which, yes, I did copyright them on March 10th of 2025, both of them, Attraction Monsters and Bouncy and Friends, they're basically turning 20 and 15 years old, respectively. Now, what's this 15-year-old, respectively? Well, it's a brand new series that I created back in 2011, on July 1st, 2011, though they originally appeared though technically they were created around this month, 15 years ago, I actually wouldn't introduce them until July 1st. And the reason why it was July 1st? Well, because of July 4th, and also because of the Waterworld Olympics. Here's the thing, though. The idea behind the Waterworld Olympics is that it's supposed to be very similar to Waterworld. The 1995 Kevin Costner movie, that type of Waterworld Olympics. So, again, while they're trying to find dry land, they decided, hey, we need some sort of Olympics. They couldn't really do World Olympics because there's really no land, and they couldn't do Winter because the only thing that would be on there was maybe ice skating, figure skating, and hockey. And that's pretty much it, and curling, if you want to count that. But regardless, they needed something that could actually do sports in the water. And so while they're trying to find dry land, they came up with the idea of the Waterworld Olympics, or WWO for short. This actual idea actually started back in May 1st of 2011, which is now 15 years old this year. But again, it wouldn't be until July 1st, 2011 that I actually decided to come up with the idea, and I originally emailed the International Olympic Committee about this idea, which they sadly turned it down. Yeah, it's probably why you never heard of it 15 years ago, because IOC thought it was a terrible idea, and the way that they emailed me just sounds very confusing. I don't know what it is, but I think it's just that somebody that was emailing me did not do a good job of explaining why the IOC is not going to do it. But again, considering that I don't have the email anymore because it somehow disappeared, and I don't know where the heck it ended up, but regardless, the Waterworld Olympics never really became a reality, but it actually has stuck with me for many years now. And yes, around that same time is when the idea came about, Attraction Monsters, or aka Coaster Monsters. The idea was that it's very similar to Pocket Monsters, Digital Monsters, and pretty much every monster franchise you could think of, but much like Bouncy and Friends, which I will get into the explanation later, it's basically just based on theme park attractions. And the idea for these theme park attractions was that, well, Attraction Monsters would be one heck of a, it would be one heck of a type of monster series that you would actually be able to create designs based off of theme park attractions. Literally, in other words, you could create an anthro, pharaoh, or any kind of character of that theme park attraction, whether fictional or not, based on actual real-life theme park attractions, say Cedar Point and Six Flags and Valley Fair, Worlds of Fun, Universal Studios, Walt Disney World, and many others. It's just that you can't create characters based off of copyrighted properties, of course, but you could technically make like a modified version of it if you really wanted to. But it's usually best to go with attractions that don't really have any kind of theming, or usually have no IP whatsoever, or no recognizable intellectual property, or just basically one-offs. And believe me, some of the roller coasters have similar names. So yeah, there's probably like a multitude of Wild Mouses, Shockwaves, and Big Dippers out there. At least it used to. But there's a ton of those type of RMC Woody coasters and old-fashioned Woody coasters and steel coasters and B&Ms and whatnot. But regardless, I actually came up with this franchise because I realized, well, we already have Pocket, we already have Digital, we already have Bakugan and Beyblade, and Yu-Gi-Oh! As well with cards. But there hasn't been a monster series based on theme park attractions. And yes, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 attractions, and as well as number 3, and Planet Coaster, does count. Which those are usually kind of under the category fictional monsters, and there's special monsters, and there's thrill, and water, and gentle, and eventually coaster monsters. But they're all categorized under attraction monsters, or as I later ended up calling them in the 2020s, theme park attraction monsters, or TPAM for short, or TPAM for short. CM, TM, GM, SM, and pretty much FM for short. And yes, WM for short for water monsters. Water monsters are basically water theme park attractions. Gentle monsters are, the carousel, the bumper cars, those type of stuff. Thrill monsters is just more like Sky High, Max Air, for example. Those type of attractions, or, pretty much Parasail, if you wanted to count that one. Water monsters, special monsters tend to be ones that you kind of pay for, like rock climbing and go-karts, for example. And then fictional monsters are just ones you kind of make up on your own or based on like video games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, for example. And then coaster monsters are, well, roller coasters. I usually call them coaster monsters because it's just kind of easier than saying roller coaster monsters, RCM for short. But whether RCM or CM, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty much the same thing. I designed that franchise and introduced it to, or pretty much finalized it, on July 1st, 2011, which is the same day that I started the World to World Olympics, imaginary, of course, in 2011. Over time, I started to kind of develop them, and, well, you could just pretty much say that 2013 came around, and, well, Boston bombing came in and just completely caused me to put them on severe hold for a good 3 years. Then eventually, when Bouncy and Friends turned 10 years old in 2016, which I should explain this, Bouncy and Friends is actually based off of many different inspirations, ranging from VeggieTales and Gumby to Peanuts, Pac-Man, and Mario Brothers. Yeah, there's a lot of inspirations, and of course, the 2006 film Everyone's Hero, which was the main inspiration behind Bouncy and Friends in the first place. Had Everyone's Hero not been made, I probably would have gone off of VeggieTales, Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, Peanuts, and Gumby. The idea behind this is that they're basically cartoon characters based on of what else but sports equipment, like basketball, baseball, bowling balls, hockey clubs, soccer, or football if you want to call it in Europe, football or American football, golf, archery, lacrosse, and yes, badminton to name a few. And, of course, cricket, if you want to count that. But not many people in the United States play cricket. Maybe Bermuda and some places do, but who the heck plays cricket in the United States? Or if you want to be very fancy, there's croquet. But that's usually a rich man's type of sport, if you ask me. But regardless, Bouncy Friends is actually based off of pretty much any kind of character that doesn't really fit into attraction monsters, but Bouncy Friends was actually done 5 years prior to Coaster Monsters in 2006. Though it actually started on September 24, 2006, pretty much I wouldn't actually introduce it to class until September 26, 2006, nearly 2 days later, after I made Bouncy and Friends. And yes, they kind of intertwined between my VeggieTales characters and Bouncy and Friends characters. But over time I realized, I couldn't use VeggieTales characters for too long, so I decided to kind of drop the VeggieTales characters in 2006 in favor of what else but Bouncy and Friends. And over time, I actually developed them to where I actually made more characters over time, like pencils, trains, paper sheets, vehicles, and probably even desks and chairs, if you really want to go that far. And in 2012, I came up with the idea of a Back to the Future type of spin-off called Back to the Present, which is where the Hybrid Machine 1080, as you can see right here, is the car that I actually used and kind of designed back on January 2012. Yes, around the same time that I made my Extreme Reviewer 101 account and Classic Cartoon Poster 1080 accounts on YouTube, of course, and Gmail, of course, that's when I created the Hybrid Machine 1080, which originally the story was to take place on June 24th of 2021. And I'm pretty sure you know what happened around that time, so I decided, well, I could decide to do it 2031, which would actually make sense considering the 2030s will be the time that a lot of the properties from the 1980s will turn 50 years old. So it would kind of make sense for me, instead of 2021, like I originally thought in 2012, to really kind of be more of 2031. So even then, that would give me a lot of time for me to actually develop the story and be able to make it to life. But that's yet to be seen like 5 years from now. We'll have to see. But regardless, The Hybrid Machine 1080 is actually one of those few vehicles that's a combination of a McLaren F1 LM from back in the early 2000s, thank you Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 for the PlayStation 2, and the DMC 1982 DeLorean. So the back of the vehicle is actually the DeLorean, while the front of it is actually more McLaren. So it's actually kind of a hybrid. Now I can't really give out all the details regarding this machine, but let me tell you, it's probably one of the coolest machines you'll ever see if you ever actually, be able to see me make the character out of it. And yes, it's actually kind of cool if you ask me. So it really just goes to show just how far I've come in terms of 15 years when it came to news updates. And yes, if you actually listen to the first one, even though that, yes, it does take place at night, you could easily tell that I was feeling very tired. This is why that when I used to talk in front of the camera, I used to be pretty sleepy. You could tell by the lip smacking on my face whenever I did it. So this is why, even to this very day, even 15 years later, the only time I'll ever be able to do this is at nighttime. Yeah, no joke. This is why it takes forever for me to video edit. No joke. But regardless, for the time being, you're probably going to see this as the unedited clip for it, so this way that you can kind of see how this works, because again, the first news update was actually no editing or very little editing at all. It's just put up a camera, start recording, and just talk whatever I want for the next 30 minutes. Yeah, that's how long my news updates used to be back in 2011, and some of them, like number 4, used to take me like 50 minutes to record it, but I had to shorten it down to like 30 minutes because the original was like 1 hour long. And unfortunately, I don't have the footage of it because, again, the 2016 hard disk drive corruption pretty much really happened. And, well, I pretty much lost all that footage. And yes, even the 1TB G technology drive that I had in 2011, 2012, and even I lost that one. But the Toshiba satellite hard disk drive, I've yet to see what I could uncover in there, but who the frick knows what's inside that hard drive 16 years later after we got that laptop in June 2010. Yes, the Toshiba satellite actually came out in June 2010, and thus we were able to buy that. Or was it 6 months before that? I don't remember. It's been so long. So anyway, I'm gonna stop blabbing here, but thank you guys for watching this. Thank you guys for the past 15 years when it came to news update, and also for the Wonka comments, as well as starting the Chocolate Factory. You guys have been pretty cool, and yes, even the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer one that I posted 2 years prior. And yes, I am planning to kind of separate those. And yes, I am planning to kind of do more reverse videos in the future. Do not worry. But it's just that I'm kind of thinking maybe The Hobbit, maybe other Rankin Bass specials, Flight of Dragons, The Last Unicorn, who the frick knows. But regardless, thank you guys for listening to this video. And I hope that you enjoy your day, you enjoy your night. Because by the time you see this video, I'm probably going to be on vacation by then. So I won't be back until May 22nd. But do remember that by the time I actually edit this video, it'll pretty much already be past May 22nd, 2026. So by the time I make that little part of the announcement for the cruise ship or the vacation trip, pretty much at that point I will be away, or pretty much I'll be home by then. So it'll be a long past, but I just wanted to let you guys give you an update. Yes, there's a lot of fuzz on my face. Just an update on see what's been going on. And of course, at the end of the day, people, you all rock. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And again, feel free to subscribe if you want to this channel. There's always a subscribe button down below if you want to do so. If not, it's your choice. You can still enjoy the videos. You can still comment down below. And again, always comment down below. That's the place that I usually go to. That's the place I usually get notifications from. So any kind of comment that you do, whether on my SuperFlashDriver news update video, or pretty much in my other videos like Wonka reverse edits and even the Rudolph one, I love them all. And personally, I try to respond to each and every comment, even if some of them are 3+ years old. So there's always going to be some comments that fall into the creek or fall through the cracks. So you just got to give me patience and hope to goodness I can actually get your response as soon as possible. But regardless, I'm Matthew John, and also known as, yes, you heard it right, around September 20th, 2025, I now have officially told the world that I'm Matthew John Marinelli. Yes, I am MJM. There's a reason why MJM Studios exist. Or pretty much I was the one that trademarked and invented it in the first place. Who knows? But regardless, I'm Matthew John Marinelli / Matthew John, also known as yours truly, SuperFlashDriver, Extreme Reviewer 101, Classic Culture Poster 1080, DJ MGM 1080, and multitude of nicknames ranging from Matman and Ketchup Man back 20 years ago and 23 years ago, to Roller Coaster Dragon Maker and Monster Lover on Twitch and Discord respectively. And this has been the 25th news update for SuperFlashDriver's 25th news update. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer, and also hope you have a wonderful rest of your Memorial Day. And remember, keep an eye out for some live streams, because I'll probably be doing a Memorial Day DJ one, and maybe a short story writing stream, or story writing reading live stream. But remember, they do take place at nighttime at 9 p.m. 10 p.m. So if you aren't able to make it, it's not a big deal. You could still enjoy the live stream no matter what, and also watch the VOD too. Though the DJ streams, I'm thinking of doing them both on YouTube and Odyssey, but that's yet to be expected. So, regardless, this video that you're watching right now is a no-edit video. This is just straight up without any kind of editing at all, so just keep that in mind. Regardless, my name is Matthew John / Matthew John Marinelli, also known as SuperFlashDriver, Extreme Reviewer 101, Classic Culture Poster 1080, DJ MGM 1080, Madman and Ketchup Man, to Roller Coaster Dragon Maker and Monster Lover, and I'll see you all in the next live stream or next video. And yes, do not worry, I'm working on the Tom and Jerry one and the 4K Willy Wonka reverse edits. You can stop asking me now. And remember, this takes forever because for some reason, the way they edited this gosh darn movie of Tom and Jerry, I don't know what they were thinking, but it takes forever to have to edit those things. And not to mention, I had to also make a reverse edit video for all the slapstick that's involved in that movie. Yeah, this is why that Tom and Jerry, I think, is probably going to be the one that takes the longest to edit. No kidding. I mean, if you want to try to edit it yourself, good freaking luck doing so, because you're going to be just sitting there thinking, how the heck am I going to do this? How the heck am I going to edit and reverse it just right to where it feels fine, dandy, and also looks nice. Now, for the 4K ones, they're usually going to be very similar to the 1080p versions, though I do have the 4x3 movie that I'll probably upload at some point in the future, but I'll probably just, can easily just go through the video and just easily rip out the entire video file if I wanted to, and be able to edit it that way. Again, I do have the 2001 Willy Wonka DVD, just not the 2011 nor the 2021 version, so just keep that in mind. Regardless, people, I'm Matthew John, so it's Matthew John Marinelli, also known as SuperFlashDriver, Extreme Reviewer 101, Classic Culture Poster 1080, DJ MGM 1080, and nicknames from Madman and Roller Coaster Dragon Maker, Madman and Ketchup Man, to Roller Coaster Dragon Maker and Monster Lover, and I'll see you in the next video, and in the next live stream. And please remember, live streams usually happen between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time / Eastern Standard Time, so if you want to check out some of my live streams, I already have some of them public, and please, feel free to check them out. Though the YouTube 20th anniversary one, I think part 2 is unfortunately blocked, but hopefully later this year or at some point in the future, I'll be able to upload all the DJ MG Music Mixing broadcast ones, and as well as the SuperFlashDriver's relaxing live stream, so please stay tuned for a community post regarding, SuperFlashDriver's relaxing live stream. And yes, next month, on Extreme Reviewer 101's channel, I'll be doing Namco Museum Volume 3, which will happen on June 19th to June 20th, so that's going to be pretty exciting, considering that game came out on June 20th of 1996, which in the United States would be June 19th. So check that out if you ever can, but that's going to happen next month. Stay tuned for that, and make sure to follow my other ones like Extreme Reviewer 101, Classic Culture Poster 1080, and DJ MGM today. Just remember, Classic Culture Poster 1080 doesn't really have any content yet, but I'm still working on the MGM show that's been in the works for 5 years. I don't know when it's going to come out, but when it does come out, you'll be very surprised what kind of show and what kind of script I make. And it's also going to be traditionally animated. On actual paper like this. Yeah, I know. So, alright, I'm going on for too long and rambling too long. So, I'm Matthew John, aka SuperFlashDriver. Salute, rave safely, L's up, and I'll see you in the next live stream / next video. Take care, guys. I'll be on vacation for now, and I'll be back on May 22nd, which by then it will be outdated. And for the outdated version, I'm back after May 22nd. Salute, and have a good day. And after that, hopefully you have an enjoyable day and enjoyable night. And of course, stay tuned for more live streams and more videos in the coming weeks. So until then, guys, see you later. Good night, good day, whichever time zone you may be in. I'm SuperFlashDriver, aka Matthew John / Matthew John Marinelli, and I'll see you in the next video / live stream. Peace, take care, and good night.